Basketball fans, Akil, Augustine, joined by Coach Jack Armstrong, and we're talking OG Anunoby, the 23rd overall pick for the Toronto Raptors. Kind of the future player, a combo player, switches, plays different positions. Power three is what I heard Dwayne Casey say, but I'm interested to hear your assessment of this young man.
I like him a lot. I really felt sorry for him because he got hurt midway through his second year at Indiana, cut his season short with an ACL tear, and he was really starting to come on. Obviously, he's a tremendous defensive player, quick, strong, athletic, tough. When I look at him offensively, he's got an explosive first step. He finishes with force. His offensive, his shooting was a little inconsistent. His free throw shooting needs to improve. But I think when I look at him mechanically as a shooter, he's sound. So I think he's a guy that I think will get better with time. And more importantly, I think his best days are ahead of him. I personally think that if he didn't get hurt this season, number one, Tom Crean, the head coach at Indiana, keeps his job. Number one, Indiana has a much better season. And number two, I think this guy is not being picked 23rd. You're talking about him being picked a lot higher tonight. So I think sometimes in situations like this, from an organization like the Raptors, where you've been in the playoffs the last 4 years, you've had back-to-back 50-win seasons, historic marks for the franchise, sometimes you get lucky. And a guy like this falls to you that, in my opinion, in a traditional year, would go higher than this. And I think as time goes on, it'll prove itself out. And the other thing about him, Akil, to me, is that he's coming into a winning situation where he's got to earn his playing time, where there's good habits, there's a good sound organization from top to bottom, and he's going to come into a situation where he's going to become a good pro. And I think that's exciting.
Now, you mentioned the injury, of course, not ready to play right now. There's a whole process of rehabbing him. Toronto Raptors have one of the best stats when it comes to rehab in the league. But once that process is over, what's the ceiling for this young man? Where can we anticipate or expect him to go?
Well, I think, number one, there's no question that, I look at him as a plus defender in the NBA, that a guy that will be able to play a few different positions, get out, get into people, and make people uncomfortable. Number two, I think from an offensive perspective, that's going to be the big challenge. I think he can put the ball on the floor, he can get to the basket. In the NBA, I think he'll be a plus guy at finishing at the rim. The question is going to be his perimeter game in terms of his consistency, shot making, and his consistency as a free throw shooter. But again, I think those are things that, based upon what I've seen of him, I haven't seen him in person, but I've watched a lot of him in Indiana. I felt that he has enough skill and he has enough sound mechanics that those are things that you can work with, that in time he can become a good player there. So again, I think in a traditional year, a guy like him, healthy and having 2 full college seasons under his belt, quite frankly, would not be going 23rd, he'd be going higher. And the second thing is, I think if you just look at his improvement from his freshman year to his sophomore year, it was significant. And I really think that this is a guy that's going to have a chance 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line to be a very, very good player.
All right, well, at the 23rd pick, the Toronto Raptors select OG Anunoby and his trademark short shorts.